CYC News for the 13th of December 2020 and the 4th of Kiak 1737 AM. I'm Bishoy Bisulius. In today's headlines, the UAE says China vaccine is 86% effective. Rich countries hoarding COVID-19 vaccines, says People's Vaccine Alliance. Biden vows 100 million vaccinations for the US in his first 100 days. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman refutes sending hit squad to Canada. Australia accuses China of undermining trade deal. Fraser Island residents told to leave immediately. What you need to know about COVID-19 vaccine safety. And Ronaldo outshines Messi as Juventus beat Barcelona. But first to the United Arab Emirates, where the country has said a Chinese COVID-19 vaccine tested in the nation is 86% effective, according to analysis of third phase trials. The UAE's health ministry announced the official registration of the vaccine with no further details. The news is the first public release of information on the efficacy of the vaccine produced by the China National Pharmaceutical Group, known as Sinopharm. The vaccine has been undergoing third phase trials in the UAE since July, and it was approved for emergency use for healthcare workers in September. But neither the UAE nor Sinopharm have released detailed data from the pivotal study. The UAE's health ministry said analysis shows no serious safety concerns, but without more detailed data, questions remain. Coalition of campaigning bodies, the People's Vaccine Alliance, warns rich countries are hoarding doses of COVID-19 vaccines, and people living in poor countries are set to miss out. It says nearly 70 lower-income countries will only be able to vaccinate 1 in 10 people. This is despite Oxford AstraZeneca pledging to provide 64% of its doses to people in developing nations. Steps are being taken to ensure access to vaccines is fair around the globe. The vaccine commitment, known as COVAX, has managed to secure 700 million doses of vaccines to be distributed between the 92 lower-income countries that have signed up. But even with this plan in place, the network of organizations including Amnesty International, Oxfam and Global Justice Now says there is not enough to go around. Anna Marriott, Oxfam's health policy manager, said no one should be blocked from getting a life-saving vaccine because of the country they live in or the amount of money in their pocket. Analysis found rich countries have bought enough doses to vaccinate their entire populations 3 times over if all vaccines are approved for use. And even though rich nations represent just 14% of the world's population, data shows they have bought up 53% of the most promising vaccines available. The corporation is calling on all pharmaceutical corporations working on COVID-19 vaccines to openly share their technology and intellectual property so that billions more doses can be manufactured and made available to everyone who needs them. It says this can be done through the World Health Organization COVID-19 Technology Access Pool. US President-elect Joe Biden has set a goal of 100 million COVID-19 vaccinations in his first 100 days in office. He said his first months in office would not end the outbreak and gave few details on a rollout plan, but he said he would change the course of COVID-19. Introducing his health team for when he takes office on January 20, he urged Americans to mask up for 100 days. Last Tuesday, a report paved the way for a Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine to be approved and rolled out for Americans. The first 100 days in office is a period traditionally seen as a benchmark for new presidents to make their mark with new policies and ideas. Mr. Biden vowed to get at least 100 million COVID-19 vaccine shots into the arms of American people. He said, "My first 100 days won't end the COVID-19 virus. I can't promise that, but we did not get into this mess quickly. We're not going to get out of it quickly." Also on Tuesday, President Donald Trump attended a summit at the White House for his COVID-19 vaccination program, Operation Warp Speed, and held the expected approval of vaccines. His administration hopes to vaccinate as many as 24 million people by mid-January. According to Johns Hopkins University research, the US has recorded more than 15 million cases so far and 285,000 deaths, both global highs. To the Middle East now, where Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has rejected allegations that he sent a hit squad to kill an exiled Saudi former intelligence officer. In a lawsuit filed in a US court, Saad al-Jabri has claimed that the assassination attempt took place in Canada, where he fled 3 years ago. He says Mohammed bin Salman wanted him dead because he knew too much. The Crown Prince, regarded as Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler, said Mr. Jabri was trying to conceal his own crimes. He pointed out that he is immune from prosecution as a head of state. Serving foreign leaders are also normally immune from civil suits in the US. However, Mr. Jabri is suing the Crown Prince under the Alien Tort Statute, and the 1991 Torture Victim Protection Act, which allow foreign nationals to file complaints in the US over alleged human rights abuses. Lawyers for the 35-year-old prince said Mr. Jabri's complaint was steeped in drama, including an introduction that likens the Crown Prince to one of Shakespeare's greatest villains. They said, but regardless of its merits as literature, the complaint fails as a legal pleading. 61-year-old Mr. Jabri was for years the key go-between for Britain's MI6 and other Western spy agencies in Saudi Arabia. Back home to Australia now, where China has been accused of undermining their free trade agreement over a series of actions by Beijing against Australian export goods. In his strongest comments yet, Trade Minister Simon Birmingham said China had targeted a dozen Australian goods amid tensions between the countries. China has imposed sanctions or halts on Australian goods such as grain, wine and beef this year. This has caused alarm in Australia as China is its biggest trading partner. Mr. Birmingham said, "We continue to raise issues of apparent potential discriminatory actions targeted against Australia. The government is considering all dispute settlement options. China buys more than a third of Australia's exports and accounts for 27% of two-way trade. Beijing has accused Australia of unfriendly and hostile attitudes towards China amid a deteriorating political row. Recently, Australia reacted angrily to a Chinese official's post on Twitter, which included a graphic fake image of an Australian soldier killing an Afghan child. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison demanded an apology from Beijing, which was rejected. Staying in Australia, and firefighters continue to battle keeping a large bushfire, which has come within 700 metres of a small township on Fraser Island, at bay. Dozens of residents of Happy Valley were urged to evacuate the holiday island as the blaze raged across the east of the island. For 6 weeks, firefighters have been struggling to control the blazes on the island, a popular tourist destination off the coast of Queensland. However, efforts have been thwarted by a continuing heatwave and dry ground. The bushfire was sparked by an illegal campfire in mid-October and has burnt through over half of the island, about 83,000 hectares. Fraser Island is the world's largest sand island and is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It has a population of fewer than 200 permanent residents, some of whom were evacuated weeks ago alongside the tourists. However, other residents, including many trained to fight bushfires, have stayed behind to defend their properties. The Fraser Island fires are among the most serious blazes seen in Australia since its Black Summer last year. The 2019-20 bushfire season was by far its largest and most intense on record, and scientists say this was driven by increasing effects of climate change. In some health news, now in any conversation about vaccine safety, there is one statistic worth holding on to: 1 in 1,000. 1 in 1,000 people in the UK have already died after being infected with COVID-19 during the pandemic. This is the known threat from the disease that any risks have been balanced against. In medicine, there is an important difference between safe and harmless, and between risk and something being risky. So, what do we mean when we talk about COVID-19 vaccines being safe to use? Professor Stephen Evans from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine said, if you mean absolutely no adverse effect, then no vaccine is safe, and no drug is safe. Every effective medicine has unwanted effects. What I mean by safe is the balance of unwanted effects compared with the benefit is very clearly in favour of the benefit. The UK's medicine regulator, the MHRA, has provided the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine has met that standard. And in sport, Barcelona forward Lionel Messi and Juventus forward Cristiano Ronaldo, regarded as the two greatest players of their generation, faced one another for the first time since May 2018, as Juventus and Barcelona locked horns in the UEFA Champions League. They have won the Champions League 9 times between them, scoring a combined 250 goals in the competition. But this was Ronaldo's night, the Portuguese scoring for the first time in the competition against Barca, with Messi on the pitch, as Juve won 3-0 in the Group G encounter. While Ronaldo scored 2, Messi was frustrated by the 42-year-old Juve keeper, Gianluigi Buffon, who made a string of fine saves as the Bianconeri overtook the Catalan club to top the group on goal difference. Messi's teammate Antoine Griezmann said the defeat was not the fault of much maligned manager Ronald Koeman. He said, who else's fault could it be other than the players? We're the ones who go out there and play. We were missing everything: desire, attitude, a willingness to run. Everything was bad. This was the 36th meeting between Messi and Ronaldo on the international, European and domestic stage. 12 years on from their first meeting, Ronaldo, the all-time leading goalscorer in Champions League history, got the better of his arch-rival. At the age of 35, Ronaldo might not get too many more chances to cross swords with Messi. He still trails Messi 16-11 in terms of victories between the two, but this was a night to savour for Juventus' former Real Madrid player. And that's all for CYC News. A reminder that you can watch this news bulletin again throughout the week on YouTube. I'm Barcelo-na from the CYC studios in Sydney, Australia. See you next time.